I'll yield to anyone who'll tell me when you're bringing your impeachment vote. If anyone wants to tell me, because you promised the American people you were going to impeach President Biden. So bring it. I'll yield. Bring it. Come on. You promised the American people. Bring it. Don't screw around with this.
I'll be glad to speak to that.
Yeah. Do you have a vote, Mr. Bishop?
Yeah.
Okay, make the motion.
Here's the motion. Here's the answer.
Make the motion.
Come on. You didn't ask me to make a motion. You asked me to explain when it would occur. You want me to answer you? Was it a question you want to answer?
You're a big man, right? You talked about impeaching the president. Bring the motion.
I'll be glad to answer your question if you want an answer.
Bring the motion.
You mean you don't want an answer?
Come on, Biggs, bring the motion. Stop wasting our time. You're wasting our time.
Here's the answer. As soon as they stop stonewalling the investigation, we can get to the next step.
You guys got nothing because Joe Biden has been acquitted. And this is just a pathetic post-game of a exercise that yielded nothing. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and it's a waste of time.
That was Democratic Congress member Eric Swalwell, and he was on fire during one of these performative MAGA Republican committee hearings where they were trying to pull out all of these stunts. And the Democrats aren't taking that anymore. They're pushing back with people like Congressmember Eric Swalwell, Congressmember Jasmine Crockett, Congressmember Moskowitz, Schiff, Jamie Raskin, Garcia. I can go on and on, but they're pushing back. Here's another clip of Democratic Congressmember Eric Swalwell saying that what these MAGA Republicans are proposing is absolute lunacy. And this is coming from MAGA Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Paulunacy, he calls her. Here, play this clip.
It's embarrassing and it's a waste of time. You have people sitting in here who are wearing shirts that say moms demand action. Do you think moms are demanding impeachment? No. They want their kids to be safe in their classroom from gun violence. You actually sit on a committee that can do that. Man, come here and do something. You have a colleague right now who's trying to put the Attorney General in handcuffs with this Anna Paulina lunacy because she can't accept that the former president was arrested and convicted. In her own district, she has some of the highest home ownership insurance rates in the country. Her state has a 6-week abortion ban. And this is the lunacy that she's coming here and focusing on? Guys, it's over. It's dead. It's rigor mortis. And it's time to move on. I yield back.
Well, I got to show you one more clip of Congressmember Eric Swalwell because he was just on fire. Here he talks about Donald Trump's theft of our nuclear secrets, war plans, and other national defense information, and how the MAGA Republican Congress members seem to just be perfectly fine with this. Play this clip.
Well, I thank Ms. Lofgren. I can't let go that one of my Republican colleagues just stated that the boxes containing national security secrets that were seized at Mar-a-Lago were stored in a safe manner. Quote, stored in a safe manner. This is the bathroom at Mar-a-Lago with over a dozen boxes of national security secrets that were stored in a safe manner. My friends, you are living on Fantasy Island. That's where cults live, so that makes sense. But this bathroom is a mess. This committee has been a mess, and this Congress is a mess. This is not stored in a safe manner. It's delusional to say that.
You're living in a fantasy show. It's worse. They're living in Donald Trump's wannabe fascist reality TV show tryout. Okay, I said I was only going to show you one more Congressman Swalwell before moving on to other members of Congress. I got to show you one more because, again, he was on fire. Here he is talking about how, like, the witnesses that are being called by the MAGA Republicans in the House of Representatives are actual spies from China and Russia who are laundering in disinformation to try to attack American democracy. Like, the MAGA Republicans are quite literally colluding with foreign regimes to harm our democracy. Here, play this clip.
Then there was Alexander Smirnov, who had the smoking gun about all of the Biden corruption. He's not available because he has been indicted for being an agent of the Russian government. There was Mr. Gall Luft. I'm sorry, he also can't be here today to help you because he was indicted for being a Chinese agent. Then my favorite, and you could say this is when you jumped the shark, is when you had Jason Galanis testify from prison. You zoomed a guy in from prison to try and support your investigation. Guys, in baseball, you get 3 outs and the inning's over. In football, you get 4 downs and then it's over. You're out of outs. You're out of downs. And as far as we're concerned, President Biden has been acquitted and it's game over. And I yield back to Ms. Lofgren.
So while that was going on, you had another hearing going on where the transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, was being questioned by MAGA Republicans, and Pete Buttigieg was fact-checking these MAGA Republicans in real time. I mean, they think that they can outwit Pete with talking points from lobbyists. Ain't gonna happen. Watch this, where MAGA Republican Congressmember Duarte tries to confront Pete Buttigieg, who points out, if this is a concern to you, why didn't you vote to have these jobs in the United States of America, which is what we want? Why are you voting against that then? Here, play this clip.
Tell you is that
that's a very simple statement. Do you believe the constituents and components in American electric vehicles being subsidized by our government today are slavery-free?
Here's what I can tell you. 80% less cobalt is going into today's EV batteries. Most of the cobalt that is used comes as a byproduct from nickel and copper mining, and major battery makers
so you don't
in the
want to
U.S. such as, could you please let me finish
No,
the
you're
sentence?
not finishing. I asked you about slavery. You're telling me about constituents and other components. Ask me, just answer the question I actually asked, which is, do you believe the electric vehicles being produced and subsidized by American taxpayers today are slavery-free, fair trade vehicles?
I should certainly hope that they are, and if there's any specific evidence of any violation of any provision to prevent forced and child labor of any product, any of the 159 products listed,
will you speak to our
we
friends
will
from
work
Congo
on that.
out
Now, what
here?
I would also,
Will you speak to our friends in Congo out here in the atrium today?
I'm just
on your way out?
astonished that people
Will
who have
you get a
shown
whole-
zero interest
Will
in
you-
confronting
will
forced
you-
or child labor on any of the other 158 products listed are suddenly terribly concerned about it on this one
We are
product, which we can
subsidizing
actually
this with
do
American
without that
taxpayers.
much
This
cobalt.
isn't just about unfair competition. This is about subsidizing child labor through American.
Then why
policy.
didn't you vote for
Our
the
treasury.
provision to
The
move it
time
onto
has
U.S.
expired.
soil?
The gentleman's time has expired.
Thank you. I yield back.
That MAGA Republican Congress member was lucky that his time was up because Pete Buttigieg was just bodying him. Over here, we got another clip from Buttigieg, and take a look at what he does to this other MAGA Republican. Watch this clip.
Is there a time that you will say, you know what, this is just too expensive. This is just too expensive. We want to rethink this policy. Is there ever a time that you're going to say that it's too expensive?
If you think this is expensive, wait till you find out how much oil and gas subsidies you've been supporting.
Are you aware-
Also, wait till you find out the economic impact that some economists have put at $15 million every hour or every day, trillions of dollars every year from allowing the environmental conditions in this country and the planet to worsen.
And then you have this other MAGA Republican saying to Pete Buttigieg that one of the big problems right now are the that's causing some infrastructure issues and catastrophes is DEI hires. And you'll hear what Pete Buttigieg is like. No one's ever connected these incidents to that. Where are you getting this from? Here, play this clip.
And I got to comment on these rail issues because, Boeing CEO, he was hammered for not prioritizing safety over DEI initiatives. Norfolk Southern, in their annual shareholders report, said that they were going to focus on DEI initiatives over anything else. And that's what led to that accident. They weren't hiring people who were qualified to put grease.
I've never seen a single shred of data or evidence associating what happened and somehow trying to blame that on women and minorities. I think really is not consistent with the NTSB.
We're out of time. Here's my question for you.
Blaming women and minorities
is not consistent
with what the
Transportation
NTSB
prioritize more DEI.
So while that is taking place, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene on the House floor making a complete and utter fool of herself, which just means she's talking. Play this clip.
It's no wonder that Congress has a 13% approval rating from the American people, because Congress is an absolute failure to the American people.
Here's another clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene right here.
Thank you. Listening today to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle charging Republicans with racism, hate, saying that we discriminate against people from the LGBTQ community or based on race has been appalling today. And I'm sorry for the witnesses that have had to hear that. I'm sorry to the American people. That should not be happening. I don't think anyone stood in line to pick their race or chose if they wanted to be a man or a woman or what color hair or any kind of physical feature before they were born. That's not something that any of us picked.
Then you had MAGA Republican Congresswoman Nancy May spring up a very serious topic, but what she doesn't say here when she tries to make these accusations against the left or Democrats, that the only thing Democrats, the left, whatever boogeyman she wants to conjure up has ever said is, how is it that you support someone who has been adjudicated by a jury to have committed sexual assault? How are you okay with that? And that is what she's saying is shaming her when a question was asked, how are you okay with supporting Donald Trump, an adjudicated rapist? Here, play this clip.
It is absolutely disgusting that we're redefining what women are and allowing men into women's private spaces. And by the way, Miss Wiley, I am a survivor of rape. I was raped at the age of 16. I am not going to put other women and girls into unsafe situations where biological men with their willy-nillys out putting women and girls at risk. It's absurd. It's disgusting. And I have 1 minute and 50 seconds left of my questioning. Do you believe, Ms. Wiley, that you need to have a PhD in biology to know what a woman is? Yes or no? Is that a yes or a no?
I first want to say you are right.
Out of time.
I am so sorry, and you should never
You
have had
didn't
to
do
suffer
it.
from
Do
sexual
you need a PhD
violence.
in biology to know what a woman is? I've been shamed by the left, and I'm not going to allow any of that stuff to happen today.
Then you've got James Comer just randomly saying Trump derangement syndrome. Play this clip.
Of clarification before I begin, is this a hearing about China or is it about
it's
Trump?
A hearing about China, and we have passed along a number for Trump derangement syndrome to our colleagues. So apparently they haven't started taking classes yet, but it is about China, a very important issue, and the government's failure to respond to the CCP threat.
Well, reclaiming my time, I think that China is a serious enough threat that we need to focus on China, and I will encourage my colleagues to do that.
Then you have Democratic Congressmember Adam Schiff going on the offense. Play the clip.
I would like clarification from the chairman. Does this mean that there is no correspondence from you to the White House seeking accommodation on this material?
We've had all kinds of correspondence with the White House on this broad subject relative to this one answer in the letter we got 2 days ago. We've not corresponded with the White House yet.
And
we will, we may. That's a decision we'll make.
And you have not corresponded with the White House seeking accommodation ever since the author who you are subpoenaing and seeking to hold in contempt articulated the view that there was executive interest and potential privilege over this material. You haven't sought to engage over the weeks since you received that communication?
We have not engaged with the White House since the letter on the 25th of this month, 2 days ago.
And prior to that time, did you engage the White House in an effort to obtain these materials?
All kinds of engagements with our counsel and counsel.
I'm talking about
the Justice Department and White House with our counsel over the last several months relative to the special counsel
this subpoena, Mr. Chairman. Did you engage with the White House at any time in the last several weeks since issuing this subpoena, the one you want to hold this witness in contempt for? Did you ever engage with the White House in an effort to accommodate, an effort to reach an agreement, an effort to prevent this from having to be litigated? Did you ever write any correspondence, make any call to the White House seeking to engage, seeking to get these materials that you're seeking from the author instead from the White House? Did you ever do that, Mr. Chairman?
We're seeking documents from a private individual who I might add tried to destroy the evidence.
I guess the question is, I guess the answer is no. The answer is no.
The answer is since 2 days ago, I'm not
asking the question about since 2 days ago, although nothing.
That's when they first raised the concern.
Nothing prevented you from writing a letter within the last 2 days or reaching out to the White House before this.
Now you want me to be clairvoyant and read the White House's mind and write a letter before they tell us something?
Nothing prevented you from seeking these materials from the White House
is known for
months, Mr. Chairman. for months.
I'm not a mind reader.
And
I don't know what
I thank you for making a very clean record for any court that will look at this.
The
that you
gentleman from
never
North Carolina
sought
said
an accommodation
months ago the White House could have raised the concern, and they
obtain these
didn't.
documents. Because your first move, of course, is to go right to contempt. Ironically, of course, for a chairman who was in contempt of his own subpoena.
Point of order, Mr.
We're still waiting for you to testify and meet the obligations of your own subpoena, Mr. Chairman. But nevertheless, I appreciate you're making such a clean record for any court in this case that you have never sought an accommodation, never written to the White House, never called the White House, never had a communication with the White House in order to obtain these materials as part of an accommodation. Thank you for that very clean record for the court, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Who seeks recognition?
And the Democrats weren't done. Then you had Democratic Congressmember Ro Khanna examining some of the architects of Project 2025. Play this clip.
I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm saying for a fact, so you support the idea that Donald Trump could come in, hypothetically, if he wins the election, fire 50,000 civil employees and replace them with people who support his ideology.
I support the Schedule F idea, yes.
And that means that if he wants to take civil servants from the Justice Department, State Department, and from the Department of Homeland Security, and he says they aren't sufficiently for MAGA, I want to fire these folks, 50,000 of them, and replace them with people more aligned with MAGA, he would have the ability to do that. Currently, there are only 4,000 political appointees. You want him to have the authority, if he wins the election, to have 50,000 people replaced, correct?
It's a lesser civil service regime. It's not the same as political appointees, but political policy responsiveness is appropriate when it comes to any employee who touches on public policy, which Schedule F class would.
I'm directionally correct. I mean, I think American people should decide whether they want that or not. You're basically saying he should have the ability to fire up to 50,000 people if they're not doing what his ideology is, and replace them with people more consistent with his ideology, and reclassify these folks as Schedule F, correct?
100%.
Thank you.
We got one more for you of Congressmember Khanna. Play this clip.
What about the rescinding of regulation prohibiting the discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, transgender status, and sex characteristics? Do you believe that we should be repealing any regulations to prevent discrimination on that?
I'm blanking on exactly which regs we're talking about, but yes, I support what is in there on those issues. Yes.
So you would, just to be clear, you would repeal any regulations that prohibit discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, and sex characteristics.
The position is that Bostock should be read properly, narrowly, and not extended to the biological areas like bathrooms that we've been discussing today.
But that's not what the report says. The report says basically you don't want any regulations that prevent discrimination against gay people and people based on sexual orientation or gender identity. I mean, that's what you call for in the report.
No, the chapter accepts Bostock according to its terms, but resists its extension to areas where it doesn't apply.
I'm just quoting directly. It says rescind regulations prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, and sex characteristics. I mean, do you stand by that statement?
I stand by what it says in the chapter, yes.
So just to be clear, I mean, that basically means you don't believe that we need to have laws to protect people from discrimination. If someone is gay or someone is transgender, you think that there should not be laws to protect them. Let me go on to one other.
Well, tell me what you think, but Democrats going on the offense. The MAGA Republicans thought they would do these stunts, these hearings where they were going to play for the media. Ain't working like that anymore, where you've got this new group of Democrats pushing back hard against the lies, disinformation, and propaganda. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers. It's free to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.